What is good, everybody? Welcome back. Got another episode of the NEW Wrestling Podcast. We got two guests today. Tears is here. Unfortunately, QJ was not able to make this episode. He should be back in the next few episodes. So QJ, or not QJ, I'm bugging. Genius and Hedgehog, thank you for joining us for the podcast today.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. It's good to see y'all. Tears, how we feeling? We feeling good?
This is gonna be an interesting episode, I can already tell.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. Let's get into it. So the Hardy Boys. Matt's been in TNA for a minute. Jeff recently came back. Looked like he's got his life in order, hopefully. Looked like he was in great shape, healthy. Looks like they're going to have one final run, and Matt recently did an interview talking about what Jeff Hardy's goal is. He said, ending his career on a high note. I would like to do TNA and have a hell of a run here. And I almost feel like now just the destiny has revealed itself in many ways. I almost feel Jeff and I, we end up returning to WWE, do something small, and then go into the Hall of Fame. That's the best case scenario. So that was the first half of his quote. So Tears, I'll start with you. Would you like to see a Hardy Boys / Jeff Hardy final run in the WWE before they hang up their boots?
I've said this in the last thing when we talked about Matt Hardy, when he talked about like how AEW doesn't use them. To me, it's just like, what even qualifies for them as a high note anymore? Because they've been talking about this high note for a good while now. And for me, it's just like, what could you possibly do? I don't see them winning any world titles. Maybe they could do one last good tag title run. And if they're going for like a big spot, like jumping off something, I kind of don't want to see that with how their age is. So I'm going to have to say them saying like they want one last high. I don't see it ending well.
Yeah, especially, I mean, like you said, their age, and I mean, Jeff Hardy's going to jump off something. That's what he's known for. So, James, what about you? Would you like to see one final run from the Hardys in the WWE before they hang it up?
For me, I mean, I definitely get what Tears is saying for sure, but I think it would be great just to see him one more time for the fans. I mean, it's the best tag team I feel like WWE's ever had, and I feel like it's just like I feel like a farewell tour couldn't hurt, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely deserve, like, at least their flowers. Hopefully, fans don't expect, like, prime Jeff Hardy of him, like, in 2008, of him just being, like, on another level, because he's been through so much, his body and everything. Hedjo, what do you think about a final Hardy Boy run in the WWE?
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with what Genius was saying. To follow up on what he was saying about like the fans liking another Hardy Boys run, yeah, because they are getting older, so we probably wouldn't be able to see them do as much crazy stuff as they did before, as Tears was saying. But I do think for the people that are big fans of them, especially us, our hardcore fans, people that grew up on the Hardy Boys, it would definitely feel good to see them one more time. Especially with Triple H running things, I feel like he would do it the perfect way for us.
But my thing about that is just like, remember how we all felt about like how Undertaker kept showing up Mania after Mania after Mania to the point where like we were all saying like, dude just needs to retire. I feel like we're going to be like that a lot quicker for the Hardys, considering we already know about all their injuries. We already know that more than likely they would be a weekly show up. So I'm just saying, like, for me it's just like, we've done this with their last run in WWE. Like, we kind of got tired of them pretty fast. And nothing to say against them. It's just like, when you wrestle every week, we see you every week, it kind of just loses like the hype that you're wanting. So that's why I'm saying like I don't see it like being a good thing.
I get what you're saying. Like they can't really like add more to what they've already done. It's like we want to see them, but it's like the only reason we do is because we haven't seen them in so long. So like after the nostalgia fact's over, it's like what else is there?
Well, it's just that, like you said, like we want to see them. We see them all the time. Like they're not wrestling.
And
True.
I feel like they should do, if they do bring him back, do like, I guess like a deal where they wrestle like 4 matches a year. They're not really weekly characters or wrestlers on the TV product. I feel like they would be better in like kind of doing what Edge was doing in his last WWE run before he left for AEW, where he would make sporadic appearances of like, okay, I want to wrestle with this baby. I'm going to take 4 months off. I'm going to wrestle this baby. I'm going to take another. I feel like that would be better for them instead of just having them wrestle weekly. So I feel like if they were to come back, that should probably be the big. Let's talk about Cena. He recently did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Very good interviewer, by the way. I highly recommend him for everybody. Chris asked him, what title run's your favorite one? And he said, my next, which I think is him hitting at maybe winning one more world title before he wraps it up. So, Hedgehog, I'll start with you. Would you mind seeing Cena win one more world title before he wraps it up, which he did say he would like to retire before age 50 or by age 50, and he's 47 right now, so he's got 3 years left. Do you think he should win one more world title in that span?
Part of me wants to say no because there's nothing further for him to do with a big title, like in this day and age. But another part of me would want him to, because I know that if he did win one more world title, he would put the correct talent over when he decides to lose it. And, obviously that all depends on who he were to feud with, do a match with. But I do feel like if he went for one more world title run, he would put people over, even if, like, he's winning the match against them. Kind of like how he did with the U.S. Championship all that time ago. I feel like he would also do that with the World Championship, and then he would end up dropping it to someone that he wants to see pushed in the future. So, yeah, I guess I could say yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I definitely could see Cena maybe doing either he's going to retire with the title or maybe have like a short month reign where he puts somebody over. I could definitely see that. James, what about you? Would you like to see Cena have one more World Championship run? Or win,
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely say yeah, kind of with the reasons that Hedgehog said. But another reason why too is I feel like Cena put that company on his back for so many years. I mean, I feel like if it's not him to have the World Championship record over Ric Flair, I mean, who is, like, ever at this point too? I feel like he deserves it, and like Hedgehogs, I think it'll be a really good, like, passing of the torch, kind of like putting a lot of good talent over and making a lot of people back there in that locker room like top tier talent, or at least be able to be seen as that.
Yeah, it'd be a hell of a way to win a title over Cena. There's definitely a lot of guys they could have do that too. How you feeling about it?
On one hand, I would say, as my history of Cena, as I mentioned before, it's gonna be weird for me to say this, but I think, yeah, might as well give him his last title run. However, I don't think now is the best time because I don't see any positives of him beating like either Priest or Cody, or maybe even Rollins or Gunther, or maybe even Solo. Well, maybe Solo. If it's Solo that beats Cody for the title, I could see that working because of the WrestleMania a couple of years ago, or like 2 years ago. Sorry about that. So I think that'd be the only way I could see it working, like in a way to where like I don't see anybody having an issue with, as long as maybe either Solo or somebody like who can really benefit from beating Cena with it. That's what I'm thinking. It's just like it needs to make sense, and right now with our current champions, in my opinion, it doesn't. Unless somebody can like convince me, like how would it work for either Priest or Cody?
No,
Yeah,
I
it
agree. I
depends how they
definitely
set
don't
it
think
up.
now's the time.
Nah, definitely not. Like there are rumors circulating. Like not sure how much truth there is to this that WrestleMania 41 could be seen as last WrestleMania. Not sure if there's any truth to that, but we'll have to see what Cena decides. He doesn't really like. It's weird because like Cena just doesn't do a lot in his matches, but like The Rock hadn't wrestled in like 10 years, and he comes and does like a great match. Like I don't know if Cena's body's just
He
not.
carried that match.
Yeah, he did, and it's like
Facts.
Cena. I don't know if it's his body. Like Ryan Alvarez says, Cena's choosing not to do a whole lot, so I don't know if Cena's just kind of taking the just I'm just gonna do my 5 moves of doom and be done with the match. But it just seems like he's
Well,
not really on that level
you
anymore.
also gotta think, like, with him also being like somewhat of a Hollywood star, he needs to make sure like he is like okay to continue the movie as well. So it makes sense why he's like not doing too much because like he's doing as much as he can to prevent there from being an
Well,
injury.
here's the thing though. The Rock does movies, and he did a hell of a lot of money. He did an announce table spot. He's doing all these
That's
crazy
true.
stuff, and it's like
That's
Cena. He
true.
just it's like it's a 5 minute match and it's over. Like maybe he does a little bit more in his final match. I don't know.
Has
Well,
to.
yeah,
I
he
think that's a
has.
See,
non-negotiable.
Like QJ always says, since QJ is a big Cena fan, he got to go all out in his final match.
Oh man.
So speaking of Cena, Mark Henry recently did an interview talking about his feud with Cena, and everybody loves his retirement fake ceremony and everything. And he recently did an interview talking about pretty much Cena potentially winning that match, why he didn't win it, and here's what he said. I built that for a year. It was a calendar year of me going, I think I'm done. When my contract came up, I actually told Vince I'm not re-signing. He did the come into my office, let me talk to you. He talked me into coming back and doing all that. People mad at WWE, don't be mad at WWE because I lost to John Cena. The same way I did not want to beat Taker at WrestleMania is the same way that I did not want to have to carry the strap and the pressure of that. Also, my body couldn't do it when you're the main event guy and you hold the title. Every night you're going to do 2 walks, a promo, an in-ring, a main event style match, and then you go to the next town. You're on every show, every brand. I couldn't do it. I physically couldn't do it. It was not their fault. It was the fact that, no, I'm not doing it. So, Tears, I'll start with you. What is your thoughts on Mark Henry saying that? Do you blame him? Would you have liked to see him as champion?
I mean, on one hand, I would love to see like how a world would go with Mark Henry as WWE champion. But on the other hand, I completely understand. I can't remember what YouTuber made a video. I didn't watch it because I wasn't what I was looking for at the time. But somebody made a list of top 10 champions who wanted to drop the title, and I know Eddie Guerrero was the thumbnail. So there's always those talking points where like even champions don't want to be the champion. So like depending on if the company will allow it, they will drop the title to the next guy. But honestly, it makes sense, and I'm glad Mark Henry, like, you know, he didn't feel comfortable being champion, so they didn't make him champion. And there's moments like that to where, like, some people just need to mention that if they don't feel comfortable with it. So, would I have liked to see it? Yeah, but, you know, if they don't want to do it, then they shouldn't have to do it.
Nah, and like a lot of fans forget, like, yeah, on TV you see him as a world champion. They have a lot of stuff on their plate. You got to make media appearances. You got to do weekly promos, like Mark Henry said. You got to do all this stuff. When you were not a main event guy, you didn't have to do all that stuff, and now you're having all that on your back. Even Batista said when we talked about it on WWE Rivals, which I'll upload in a few weeks, like he kind of felt overwhelmed. You go from being a guy who's barely recognizable to being the guy, and everybody's asking for autographs and pictures, and it's just kind of, it's not for everybody. But Hedgehog, what do you think about what Mark Henry had to say about why he lost to Cena?
I think it makes perfect sense because what you got to understand is the pressure of being a champion, pretty much like y'all was saying, the interviews, the matches, the going from town to town, that's just simply not for everybody. You know, not everybody can do that. Like people like Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, you know, the top people that have went on world championship runs, like they're a different breed if we're being real because not everybody can do that. Like it really does take like a certain level of commitment, and it's just really good that he acknowledged that he's just not built for that, or at least he wasn't yet, you know, and he just wasn't comfortable with it. So he you know, it's really good that he was honest about that because a lot of people will sit there and say they want to be champion and then they end up being given the championship and then they see that they're not about that life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you said, it makes perfect sense. Like, and Mark Henry, this was what, 20?
I want to say 11 or 12.
Yeah, so he was already in his mid to early 40s. So, and I mean, he said his body wasn't feeling right. His body was shutting down. Like, might as well just kept your main guy champion, let him lose, or let Mark Henry lose, and he didn't even really sound like he wanted to still be with the company. Vince just kind of pulled his typical, "Oh, if you stay with us, we'll give you a title, pal," that he always does, and it's just like,
Yeah,
it ain't,
cause
it ain't gonna work.
yeah, cause yeah, it's just I don't know. Vince just that's a whole other thing. I'm gonna let Genius go, and then I'm gonna get to that. That's a whole other beast to tackle.
So, James, what do you think about what Mark Henry said overall about him not wanting to be champion and not wanting to beat Cena?
I gotta agree with kind of what Hedgehog and Tears said because I mean it makes sense. I mean if you know that you're not gonna be ready for the task that like they give you, it's like you would much rather not be put in that spotlight than for you to have like a bad reputation as champion because you couldn't carry what you had to do. So I think he did. I think he did the right thing and it's understandable because I feel like it's better that than the latter of him not being able to like do what he had to do underneath the pressure of what he was facing already, physically and mentally. So yeah.
Yeah, he just had a bunch of injuries. living up to a guy like Cena is not easy in its own right either. And credit to Mark, he had a hell of a career. He still won a world title. Maybe he'll come back to WWE. He is a free agent I guess he's like an interviewer, broadcaster now, or whatever he was doing in AEW. So Randy Orton recently did an interview, and he seems like he wasn't too fond of Vince in his later years. He's been having he hasn't really been defending Vince, really. I mean, I think he didn't want an interview, but after that, it's just not been too many nice things. During an interview, a Wrestling Binge, Randy Orton revealed that when he was 35, he went directly to Vince McMahon to request a reduced schedule due to back issues. All McMahon had to say was, "I need you on those shows, Randy. Mother Nature gets us all." So quite a comment from Vince. So Tears, I'll start with you. What do you think about Vince's comments and about Randy wanting time off due to his back injury? Has really been a problem for him the last decade almost now.
Yeah, that's not something you want to hear from your boss. Like, basically saying, like, yeah, I know you're hurt, but, like, can you not be at this moment in time? Like, that's not something you want to hear. Like, for real, like, how do you even try to defend that? Like, in all honesty.
You can't defend it at all.
Right, because, like, you're trying to worry about your health as well, which is always important, which is why I always have an issue with, like, the Hardy Boys wanting to have one last run. It goes back to that. It's just one of those things to where, like, for me, it's just, if the company you're working for doesn't even care if you're, well, this just reminded me instantly about the 2011 CM Punk whole debacle with the Doctor. Like, it's just instantly reminded me about that, to where, like, it kind of leans into that, because on one hand, like, if the company does need you, like, it makes sense considering you're one of the big names, but at the other hand, it's just like, dude, he's hurt. Do you want it to get worse?
For real, though.
Yeah, that's a fair point. James, what do you think about it?
I'm gonna keep things PG, but if that was my boss, I mean, I just don't know how I would feel, because it's like you go out and you do. And how long was Randy with them? But by that time, he was 35. Is that like what, 16 years he gave to that company? You came in at 19, right?
He's about around that. So
I mean, you.
Yeah, probably about a decade ago. I think he's like 45 now, 46. So
Yeah. I mean, and he's coming from legacy and everything like that too. I mean, at some, like, what point would Vince have, like, your best interest at heart? Because like Terry said, if it gets worse, what else can you give them? I mean, really, you just ruined your health for nothing, because he kind of just, Vince is like the puppeteer, and it's like just one of the puppets got thrown away. If his back injury would have got, like, even worse, he wouldn't have been able to wrestle. So I mean, like, how can you defend somebody like that? Like, that's crazy.
It is. Hey, Joe, what you think about it?
It doesn't surprise me at all, because it's like, if you're a top star of the company, and I mean, like, during Vince's time of running things, if you were a top star, like, you had to be on the show. And what Vince wants, what Vince gets. He does not care, as long as it's making him money, and as long as it's, like, getting the viewership he wants. He will pretty much do whatever he wants to do to make sure it happens, regardless of anybody's well-being. And there have been many stories in the past about this, and there have been many stories about Vince wanting people to do things they're not comfortable with doing it, but this is how we make money. It's for the show, and they have to do it. But it doesn't surprise me at all. That's exactly why we have so much situations of people having, like, severe injuries, or people getting hurt real bad, because sometimes they'll be hurt before the actual injury takes place, but like, Vince won't do anything until it's too late.
Fair point.
That's a great point.
For real.
I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts, and people work for Vince and, like, other wrestling podcasts, and, like, they always say Vince don't care about you. You're just a money maker for him.
Yep.
There's reports he wouldn't even let some wrestlers go to funerals, birthdays, none of that. Like, I think a wrestler went up to him and said, "It's my kid's birthday," and he was like, "Well, everybody has a birthday." It's just Vince don't care about it. Dutch Mantel claims that's what he said. I don't know. Maybe he was capping. I don't know. But knowing Vince probably wasn't. But, like, he
got something for everything.
Yeah, he does. It's all about WWE with him. His whole life has been WWE. He don't care about you. He don't care about your family. He don't care about your health. And a lot of guys have said too, like they don't get surgery or take time off because they don't want to lose their spot. They don't want to be unimportant, and then it's just a lot of pressure. And Vince doesn't make that easy for anybody. I mean, like Tier said, look at Punk. I mean, he was seriously hurt, and Vince was like, no time off. Go out there and still work a Ryback and all that. You go do that.
You can almost say the same thing for Finn Balor too, when he got injured and he lost that title those years back.
And then Vince never gave him a world title opportunity again after that. Yeah, that's a good point. Tears, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, remember when Punk was talking about, like, where, like, he talked to a different doctor than a WWE one, and they said, like, you should be dead by now. I was just like, just imagining that, like, hearing that, and, like, Vince was being, like, in that mindset. It's just like, how many situations could have been prevented now? Because, like, there's a certain individual, like, that comes to mind about, like, a certain situation that could have been prevented, but it wasn't, so it got as bad as it did. I can't really mention it because I don't want this video removed from YouTube.
I know who you're talking about, and
Yeah.
the thing is, today it's a lot safer a product than it was back then. I mean, guys were taking chair shots to the back of the head, and they were taking like diving headbutts.
If I may, would the hint be mental illness?
Yes.
On the money. I know who you mean.
Yeah, we all do. Yep.
And that also
Bad
goes with the
ball.
Mark Henry thing about, like, people who don't have what it takes to be world champion at that moment.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Some guys are just comfortable not being in that spotlight and stuff. Like,
I feel like the only people that'd be able to get away with asking for time off and they'd actually be able to get the time off is people that are just like nobodies in the company. Because like, if you ask for time off and you contribute nothing to the company, of course he'll give it to you because like who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine how that conversation would go down?
Wasn't
Bitch, can I get
there
some time off?
Wasn't
Who
there
are
a
you?
story to where, like, somebody didn't even get the meat fence for, like, a whole year or so?
yeah, because there was like always a line outside of his office and shit, and they were like always trying to meet with him, and he just never gave them the time of day. Yeah, there's been a lot of stories about that. Like, wrestling business is a dark business. I mean, it's not. It's got a lot of steroid issues, brain issues.
Shout out to Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is very good. Yeah, it's just be glad Vince ain't the running WWE anymore, people. That's all I can say. I know there's people out there who said Vince is the greatest of all time and all that. If y'all really believe that, then whatever. But it's a lot better without him. That's for sure.
I mean,
So final
he's better
topic.
than certain
go ahead,
other. He's better than certain other company owners.
Yeah, there's a lot
There's
of
worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
there are-
not
Okay.
morally worse, but, like,
yeah.
worse at running a company.
Damn. It's a sad life.
It is. So final topic. Watched SmackDown this week. CM Punk was out there with Paul Heyman. Fans were chanting, "We want Roman," when Paul was saying, "I need my tribal chief," and all that when he was saying that. And the fans miss Reigns. They miss him. They want him back. They are hating, not every fan, but the majority of fans just hating on Cody's reign. They said it's been boring. It's not living up, which, I mean, to be fair, living up to an all-time reign is nearly impossible. But, like, fans want him back as soon as possible. It's rumored he might face Rollins at SummerSlam. We'll have to see if that's what they do. But Head Joe, you're the biggest Roman Reigns fan in here. I'll start with you. Do you blame fans for missing him? Are you on that train? Do you think it's kind of a bandwagon thing? What do you think about it?
I don't blame them at all, and you know, if I'll be quite honest, I'm one of the people that misses him, of course, because you know, he just did really good, like being entertaining as a champion. Like I can't explain it or put it into words, but the whole bloodline in general, it just anytime you heard that music, da, 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 it just gave off that certain vibe, like the final boss has stepped into the building. You know what I mean? But but in terms of the fans not giving Cody a chance and them hating on his reign, all it is that Reigns has been champion for a long time, and you know, this is the first time in what, like 3 years? Is that how long it's been?
I think 4
3
at
years.
this point.
I think 4. I damn near want to say 5.
Yeah, 4 years since we've gotten a new champion. they're so used to seeing Reigns. So of course, when we get a new champion, they're instantly gonna hate on him. They're saying, pretty much like you were saying, he's boring. He's not living up to the hype. It just doesn't feel the same with him. And you want to know something crazy? When Reigns first became champion, and he was champion for a while, they were saying the same thing about him. Fans were hating on him at first. If y'all remember that, they were saying that he's a boring champion and that he's just not living up to it. Take the belt off him as soon as possible. They like what they're saying about him now. They were not saying that about Reigns back then. So they're just doing the same thing here with Cody Rhodes. He's a new champion. He's still kind of building up his rep as a champion. So he's gonna have the haters. But I feel like if they keep it on him, somewhere down the line, they'll respect him more.
Agreed. Like, it's all about just getting used to someone as champion. Like, title changes are never easy. They did the same thing with Priest when he beat Ron. They're doing the same thing with Bayley. They say Bayley's a boring champion. Io was better. Bayley's not a great champion. They're saying Priest is like a Jack Swagger champion. He sucks. He's not good.
That's so unfair.
Yeah, Jack Swagger's crazy.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious.
They didn't even want to give Priest a chance as world champion. He's done a hell of a job, really. Like. So we'll go from a Roman Reigns fan to a non-Roman Reigns fan. Tears, what do you think about the fans' reaction in wanting Reigns back?
First of all, we're hedgehog. I have to mention final boss. You called Roman Reigns the final boss. That's really what you did right there,
bro. Like not to cut you off, but just bro, when you play that music. You literally feel like you are on the last level, bro. The final
It was
boss.
a badass entrance. When Pat McAfee used to hype up his entrance, it used to get me into it. He was like, head of the table, they're great. Like, it was actually pretty dope.
Yeah,
but the reason I brought that up is because, like, final boss, wasn't that what The Rock was called?
Yeah, it was what he was called, but, like, Reigns gave that vibe, man.
Okay. I get that. I just had to point that out because I couldn't help but chuckle to myself when you said that. But the reason, like, think it's just unfair to say that about Cody is because, like, the reign just started. And plus, I think Cody has actually been having good matches with AJ Styles. Yeah, it's his first actual feud for the belt. So I think it's kind of good. I mean, like, sure, we're kind of, like, slowly moving towards Solo to be the next top feud for Cody. I think it might be a little too early for that to do anything with, like, because we talked about, like, Cena having his last run and maybe having Solo beat Cody for the title. That would be intriguing. And then Cena could beat Solo. I might be booking it too far in advance. I don't know, but I mean, it kind of goes with, like, what I said about Liv Morgan winning the women's title after Becky just won it. Like, it could be, like, early shooting right there. And plus, same with Priest, where, like, it's just way too early to, like, be discrediting these people's runs. So, I just got off topic there talking about the title runs, but when the question was about Roman Reigns being missed, I would say Reigns being missed is a valid argument, but at the same time, dude, we just had him for 3 years as champion. I think, like, let the people who were tired and say, let his haters just have a moment to calm down to be away. Like, let him be away, let people realize, like, you know what, maybe it wasn't that bad. And then when he comes back, people will have a new viewpoint of it.
He'll be a baby. And to use a Cornette saying, how can I miss you if you won't go away? And sometimes you need a break. It's okay to get a break from somebody.
And I will say, to be fair, like, I understand what y'all are saying, but to be fair, when someone is present in your life for, like, a long period of time, like, yeah, you're not going to ever miss them because they're constantly there. But then when they do finally go, you're going to miss them because you're so used to them being there. So it's going to take, like, time for you to get used to the fact that they're not there, if y'all, like, get what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, am I saying taking 3-year hiatus? Definitely not. I don't want any wrestler to be signed a 3-year hiatus just for a storyline. But I would say, like, rumor about SummerSlam versus Rollins, is that long enough for Reigns to be gone? I think it would be best to, like, have him make a surprise show up at Survivor Series, but that's just a personal take for me.
I feel like he'll show up. I heard he's booked for, like, a SmackDown in the next 2 months. I feel like they're either going to build him and Rollins up, or they're gonna build a new versus old bloodline story up when he comes back. That seems like the direction they're going, which could be intriguing.
I feel like the Bloodline one needs to happen first, because, yeah, the Rollins one makes sense due to the fact, like, let's not forget, Rollins has never lost to Roman Reigns. That's still a fun segment to keep bringing up. But I feel like that's just such a minute detail that not everybody's going to care about.
That's a
Yeah.
fair point.
Yeah.
So, James, what you think about Reigns being missed by the fans?
I think first off, I can't really say too much more after what Tears and Hedgehog said. I mean, they basically covered everything. I think Reigns 100% deserves to be missed by the fans. I mean, the way he put the company on his back for the last couple of years with that title run, I mean, that's something. It's the best title run we've seen. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, at least honestly, I feel like they're really kind of screwing Cody over, like off rep, like the fans are. Like, I feel like Hedgehog's like, you got to give like things time to settle. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like a hole that's missed, and it's like they're not even letting Cody be able to fill the void. They're just like, oh, we want Reigns back. But I really feel like if he did come back too early, they would say something different. It'd just be something new. So, you know, I think they should keep giving Cody a good shot at this title run and let him do what he does, man. I think he's gonna be a really good champion.
He definitely will be, and like fans gotta like obviously always appreciate Reigns, but like they gotta appreciate the future of this company too. Like Braun
Yes.
Breaker is the future of this company. Dude is a beast. Like,
Do y'all see how fast he be like running across
yeah,
the ring?
like he's a different.
Motherfucker,
Bro, and he's strong as
the
fuck.
ring.
He's like a mini Braun Strowman, bro, but athletic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that dude right there is the future. Dragunov, the future. Solo Sikoa, Gunther, like guys like that. They got guys in
Gunther.
NXT. Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams. Like they have a pipeline of young. Not all of them are young, but like guys who could take over eventually for that. And it feels like the fans don't really give a lot of them an opportunity to really get over. Maybe they will in the future. But for me, Reigns told the best story possibly ever in WWE and with the Bloodline story. You can make that argument.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
say what you want about him. He elevated the Usos. He elevated Sami Zayn. He elevated Solo Sikoa. I think Cena said in the interview he gives Reigns credit for that because he didn't just elevate himself. He elevated others in that group. So he's done a good job of elevating other talent. It ain't like he's a selfish guy and like, oh, I'm not going to boost anybody else up with me. Like he did boost his family and Sammy. So I give him respect for that. We'll see when he comes back. Not really sure when that's going to be. He's supposed to be wanting to do movies and stuff eventually, so he's never going to be a full-time wrestler. When he was champion, he's on a part-time schedule anyways. So for any fans hoping he's going to come back and wrestle every single pay-per-view, that's not going to happen anymore. He's going to be on like a Brock-type deal where he's just wrestling at the big shows. Hoping he comes back, though. As a Roman Reigns hater, I think the big pop for him and Rhea Ripley is going to be insane when they come back as baby faces.
Real.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
I do want to add also, like, even, like, when you were his ally, like, yeah, you got big, but don't forget about his opponents, because, like, if it wasn't for Reigns, you and I have to say, like, LA Knight probably wouldn't have gotten a chance, Logan Paul wouldn't have, because we all said, like, against Reigns, that was Logan Paul's best match.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All of his opponents, especially the ones that Solo interfered in, like, they all got, like, really well, like, done after the match as well.
Yeah, like really, for me, my only complaint with Reigns is the Solo interfering every single match. Like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have as much complaints. Like, that really just turned me off his title reign. Like, every single match. Here comes Solo. He's in a hoodie. We're all supposed to be surprised that he's interfering. I don't know why he wore a hoodie, because, bro, we know it's you, but, like...
And I get that argument, but, like I jokingly said right there, it's just, like, when it comes to the Solo interfered ones, like, those typically were, like, the superstars that got the biggest, like... wins technically by the laws, I guess, if that makes
definitely
sense.
agree.
Like, LA Knight got interfered. Dude is like nonstop, like fan favorite. Sami Zayn, like, say what you will about like his current situation, to where people would have preferred Chad Gable over him. That's a fair argument, but at the same time, it made Sami Zayn like a tag team champion with KO. It got everybody what they wanted: a tag team title run with KO and Zayn.
Yeah, it benefited a lot of people. I mean, he deserves his flowers for that, no doubt. Like, for any fans who say he's just selfish and don't elevate others, that's a false thing. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed everybody's opinions. We talked about a lot of good topics. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Peace.